To get clear of that boat, which is just in front of me, I need to give it a proper shove. So I'm going to bring it back in and do the honours. And let's just make sure there's no one coming. There's a bend about 300, perhaps 400 yards ahead. Okay. Let's decent shove. I can give it a decent shove because I'm going to be fairly swift to get back, and there's no casting off to do here, so I can now shove off the back end, and I'm not risking the front end swooping round, so that's pretty good. Into neutral and then some forward revs, so that's worked out really well. I'll tell you something as well. Some speeding boats. We're not speeding, but not slowing down. Unbelievable the number. Nobody's. I think maybe out of perhaps 40 boats, 50 boats that have passed. It's really hard to count actually, but that's what it feels like in the last day and a half, or you know, maybe one or two slowed down. So I've got no qualms anymore. I'm not gonna, this is like the Bridgewater last summer. I'm not arsed. If someone shouts, they shout. No one's slowed down for me. And there's so few boats that slow down that I feel like I'm returning a favour that I'm not getting, if you know what I mean. And it's hard to do this. I don't like doing it. It doesn't come naturally to me. I'm not up to full speed, by the way. I'm still just above tick over here, so I'm still going slow, but I'm not playing the game anymore, not in the summer anyway. It's just not worth it. There's just not enough people returning the favour and going slow. Everybody's just, they're just motoring along. Fair enough, you know, they've got places to go, things to visit, people to see, whatever they've got. But I'm just going to join in with the general mayhem, and I'm not slowing down, not significantly anyway. So is that mooring chain? It's got to be a mooring chain of some sort. Yeah, some kind of mooring chain. Anyway, so I'm doing a very short cruise today. I'm leaving lovely little town of Fradley. It's all very new buildish. It feels like just a series of new housing estates. There don't seem to be many old buildings here. You know, everything looks like 80s, 90s, noughties, and you can see I've not really seen any old houses. I say that now, there's some right behind me, but they're the exception. It's all new builds. It feels like a new town, but it's nice, you know. I've got to say, the kids are well behaved, the adults are polite. You know, it seems like it's got a nice vibe about it. I don't have a problem with it at all. Fradley seems pretty good to me. So farewell Fradley. Co-op's good. It's an excellent butcher, really nice butcher. The chip shop I didn't try, unfortunately. So I can't report on that, but it's got 4.6. Any chip shop that's got 4.6 stars on Google, you can trust it. Basically, you're not going to have a problem. You know, even if it's not to your individual tastes and it's not perfect, it'll be bloody edible. You know what I mean? No, you won't have a problem. Unless you're really finicky. Now, okay, I'm really finicky. Like, I hate greasy chips. I just loathe them. I can't be. As soon as I see squidgy, mushy, greasy chips, they're going in the bin. I'm just not. And it's commoner, unfortunately. Greasy chips are commoner than you would like them to be. But when you see 4.6 stars, it's usually a good sign. There was one in New Mills, 4.8 stars. and I really wanted to try it, and I don't know why. I just didn't. I was never hungry. I never visited at mealtime or close to. It just never happened. But anyway, you know, one of these days. So nice town, but short hop today, and the short hop is down to it's down to a place called Streethay Wharf, because that's where my friend is staying, living, I think. Harry, you'll remember Harry from the Heartbreak Hill, my groundbreaking gritty documentary about the locks of Heartbreak Hill, the Cheshire Flight. Well, we left Harry on the entrance to the Macclesfield Canal. He continued south eventually, and he came down here. We diverted, we did the Macclesfield, we did the Colden, and actually now Di and Dave have gone their way at Fradley Junction, down the Trent, towards the Trent. Is this boat moving? No. Yeah, they've gone their own way. But I'm sort of reuniting with Harry because he's got his boat moored at a marina. I don't know whether he works there, but what's really useful is that he knows someone who understands Eberspacher diesel central heating units. There's a squirrel on the tree. Yeah, he knows someone who understands these Eberspachers, and mine's playing up. Well, I say playing up, it was playing up originally. Sometimes it would come on, sometimes it wouldn't come on. Now it just won't come on. I mean, it'll come on, it'll make a noise, it'll go through the motions, but it won't fire up and work. So it needs attention. It's 8 years old, as is the boat. 8 and a bit, almost 8 and a half. And these things don't last forever. They've got a poor reputation, if I'm being honest. The Webasto units, from people I've spoken to personally, the Webasto central heating units are better thought of in terms of reliability. Eberspachers, the general opinion seems to be you'll get about 10 years out of it if you're lucky. My mate Richard got 15 years out of his, so it's not universal, but you're lucky if you get that. It seems to be the exception. So anyway, it could be the end of its lifespan, or it could be a simple thing, but this guy Harry knows is coming to have a look tomorrow, which is brilliant. So it looks like a side benefit of me coming and visiting Harry here is that I'll get my central, fingers crossed, touch wood, I'll get my central heating sorted out one way or the other. I may have to just buy a new one. I mean, it's quite possible I'll be on this boat for another 7 years. It may be up to 10 years, I don't know, but I want to try motorhome living at some stage. It's something I'm curious about, and so I feel like I can't leave it too late. You know, I need to be able to drive. Got a whole sort of a whole camp set up there. Anyway, it's, as I say, it's a short cruise, so I sort of need to be on the ball, and also I'm coming up to a bridge hole, and it's Saturday. Honestly, the boat traffic this morning was crazy. There was a boat every like 3 minutes for the first sort of hour, 9 till 10. Boat every 3 minutes. Sometimes a train of boats, 2 or 3 boats. Who's that? Then it sort of died down a little bit. Boat every 10 minutes. And now it's sort of 2 o'clock. It's maybe 2:30. I'll check in a mo. And now the traffic's died down again. It goes through phases. So even on busy days and it was like this on the Lachlan as well. Even in the summer, towards the middle of the afternoon, it does die down a little bit. So I found it to be a good time to travel if you're not into the ducking and diving, you know, on very busy canals. Right, so I'm gonna slow down a little bit here. There's a narrowboat moored on the left. This looks like a nice one as well. Beautiful cream coloured boat. So, afternoon. That's a beautiful boat you got, mate. Really is. Fantastic. Absolutely lovely. Who doesn't love a Dutch barge, honestly? Just, I was looking, there's some what I thought were houses on the side of the canal. They're not, they're park homes. Look. You can tell because they have these sort of slightly over fussy windows. Do you see what I mean? That typically a house wouldn't have, and they're always single story. Don't get me wrong, I'd love one, you know, in a nice rural spot. I wouldn't have any problem living in one of them. I think the only problem with them is you'll pay 100 grand for one, probably more. You'll pay big site fees every year, but it's depreciation. After sort of 10 years, the value starts to plummet a bit. That's the only downside with them that I can find. I would have no problem living in some kind of a prefab like that. Simple to work on, simple to install things, you know, just, yeah. Wood, metal and plastic. What's not to love? Keep it simple. Nice big windows. I don't have a problem with them at all. I nearly got one. That one of my alternative plans, Matt. One of my alternative plans for retirement was to buy a static caravan park home. Well, a static caravan because it would have been thinner. Park homes, I think, are perhaps the wider, full size, full width, like 20 odd feet wide, whereas a static caravan's maybe 12 feet wide, 13. Anyway, yeah. Let's find out where the hell we are. Right, we've got, this is saying a mile, but there's a big loop, so I would say 1.5 miles perhaps. So we'll be there. 1 mile is 20 minutes. What are we doing? We are doing 3 miles and at 2.9, 2.8, 2.7. I don't know what we're doing. Probably approaching 3. So yeah, 1.5 miles. We'll be there in half an hour. As I say, short cruise. And I'm going to stop there for a little while because it's my best chance of getting an economical, affordable fix done to the central heating unit. Is this friend of Harry's. I'm not going to name any names or, you know, anything like that because, you know, I don't know what his status is. All I know is he's a friend of a friend. So, you know, I don't want anyone getting into trouble through me blabbing. But, you know, if Harry recommended him and Harry knows some of the people around here, then he'll be okay. He won't be a con man and he won't be a cowboy. And sadly, they're all too common. They're all too common, both species. One thing I would say to you boaters is don't just go by the phone book or the internet to find a professional to fix like central heating. You know, if you're handy, you can do 80% of it yourself anyway on boats. It's just that I'm not. If you're handy, you can do most things yourself, but if you do need to get a professional in, don't just go from the internet. Ask around on internet forums, Facebook groups, ask for recommendations, you know, and not just one, because you can't, you know, genuinely, don't just take one, because one person can be biased or be a friend of theirs or something. They can, you know, they got the job, but the rest of the work the guy does is rubbish. You know, you can still get a rogue. So get a couple of recommendations, especially for bigger jobs involving a lot of money. Get a couple of recommendations. You know, like I always say, if you want anything to do with lithium batteries, installs, that kind of thing, you know, you cannot do better than Ed Shears, Four Counties Electrical. Just incredibly knowledgeable, incredibly honest, ethical, absolute hero, honestly. I'm not just saying that, you know, I mean, he's a likeable guy. as well, which doesn't hurt. He's easy to talk to and approach. You know, he explains the issues very clearly. Just a fantastic professional. You could not do better. But the problem is, because he's so good, he's crazy busy. But there's people like that, you know, who are known, widely known. They're the ones you want. Canal World Discussion Forum, CWDF, is a good source, I would suggest. If you just got yourself a boat and you're looking around and you don't know who's local, there's so many contributors on there, and there'll be someone in your local area who's a member on the site who knows, or who knows someone who does know, you know, and they'll generally help out if you ask politely. There's a couple of trolls on there, you know, but aren't there everywhere really, you know? But there aren't many, so I don't want to, you know, give you a negative impression. I think I might slow down for these because there's a couple of GRP, one GRP or next to a bit of an old narrowboat, and these are the sorts of people who I feel might be inclined to shout if people go past a little bit fast. So out of cowardice, I'm going to slow down for these guys. Not that anyone else will, but I'll do the decent thing. I think I'm doing a decent thing. I'm doing about 2.5, I would say. But these are two of your characters that you see. Sort of guys who live on boats, recycling stuff, reusing, you know, doing their own repair work, all that. And quite often they're really nice people as well. I think some people are sort of worry about them. Some people worry about, you know, oh, he looks a bit scruffy, he looks a bit rough around the edges in that GRP. Now don't get me wrong, you know, I joked about it in one of my very first videos about how there's some off the wall characters, and there are. I can smell the wood smoke, they got a wood barbecue thing anyway, and there are, you know, and there are in narrowboats as well, single males, you know. And listen, I said this when I did the first video, but this is me, you know, self-evidently a bit like off the wall, let's be honest, you know, even I know that, talking about boaters being a bit weird. So, but the, you know, people look at them, and quite often it's a mixed bag. Sometimes they will be, just leave me alone, I'm not interested in being sociable, you know, which, listen, fine, you know, that's not a problem for me. That's their decision, and I respect it. You know, if somebody wants to be alone and just do their own thing, you know, why the hell not? It's a free country, and last thing I want to do is bother people. You know, I'm a bit of an acquired taste, let's be honest, with the way I sort of can rabbit on at times. So yeah, totally respect it, and you know, and so, I don't know, sometimes there's a little tribe, like there'll be a couple of GRPs together. Sometimes it'll be youngsters in the summer. That was something just bumped against the bottom, either the bottom or the rudder, I don't know. Some little ducklings. How many she got? She's got 2 left. More usually survive than that. There must be predators around here. There must be active predators, because more usually survive. She only had 2, that duck, which is a real shame really. Listen, we're never going to be short of ducks, are we? They're everywhere. But it's still sad to see a family decimated, you know. As evil as ducks are, you know. Oh, the male ducks are. I haven't got a problem with the females. They're just making a living, they're just getting by. It's the males who are just weird, for reasons I've, you know, explained at length and on many occasions. So we're never going to run out of ducks, but at the same time, I don't like to see a family, what was a brood, it's not a brood, is it? A bunch like 8 chicks. They would have like 7, 8 chicks that I typically see them with. See them reduced down to 1 or 2. But I can only imagine maybe there's a big pike in the waters nearby, and it's not getting its quota of fish, so it's decided to go for chicks, you know. Maybe there's a fox or foxes. Who the hell knows? I've even seen some crows, large crows, eyeing up tiny newborn chicks of ducks, and the ducks were like freaking out, you know. It's as if they sort of knew what the crows were planning. Anyway, I scared the crows off. There's a moored boat on the offside, so I'll take a couple of revs off. It's a very leisurely cruise. I mean, it's an hour's cruise, you know. I'm not in a rush. The only thing is I might get someone speeding up behind me, but you know what, I might let them just overtake. I'm optimistic that I'll get a spot here. I'm trusting Harry, because when I looked on Google Earth for a spot to moor near to Streethay, where Harry's boat's moored, I couldn't see any Armco. I couldn't see any, you know, it just didn't look like there was Armco there, and normally I can tell. Just looking, there's an e-bike up there. I'm just looking, seeing what it is. Someone's got a fire going there. Little bonfire thing. These will be paid moorings, let to them from the farmer. They've got a stretch of about 30 feet that, you know, they can use going back to a fence line. So they've got 30 feet, they can use it as a garden. Some of them have got chopped up logs. Oh yeah. It looks like a really nice setup. I don't think there's much here. Don't think there's much here. Because looking round, there's no towns. Although, we're not far. Listen, if they've got land, a little garden or whatever they've got, the great thing about that is, see, it frees up space in a boat. This is the great thing about those permanent moorings. If you can get one cheap, affordable, you could put like a storage shed on there. All your tools could go in there. In the summer, your winter clothes could go in there. So imagine how much space that would free up in the boat. There's a lot to be said for, if you can afford it, getting some storage space on a boat. There's a lot to be said for it. So storage space off of your boat, spare ropes, long-term storage, you know. There's so much gubbins that you carry around. Like I carry spare oil filters, fuel filters, oil for the next oil change. I always have a few spare sets, alternator belts, a whole raft of tools, most of which I'm rubbish at using, obviously. But you know, loads and loads of gear. The Brompton, I can't use it in winter. It's not really suitable for winter and these rough rural roads, so that's away all summer, never gets used. Sorry, all winter. Yeah, there's so much stuff you could stash away, and your boat would have, you know, just that much better space, really. Be so much more convenient just to use seasonal items. But anyway, look, all that costs money, and it depends. You could go in a marina and you could have a toilet block perhaps nearby and a shower. You would have a water hose very close to your boat, electric hookup, you know, you could do all that, but that would cost money. Here, what you've got, the advantage of this thing is it's much more pleasant because you're out on the canal. Probably get bounced around a bit by speeding boats, but you're out on the canal, so that's nice. But with that extra storage space on land, you can free up your boat of unnecessary long-term things. So you could go on a winter cruise, go all over the place, just take what you need. And you know, if you get stuck, just jump a train back and pick up the stuff you need, take it back to your boat. So you know, yeah, you've got options if it's close to a train thing. I don't know. Well, it is, because Lichfield we're getting close. Probably we've got about half a mile left, I think. On the not seeing many boats. Have I even passed one yet? I can't remember even passing a single boat so far. I'm trying to check the map, but I'm also trying to keep a close eye out ahead. A sharp lookout, I think is the phrase. Because we're on a bend and a boat could appear at any moment, and it won't be going slow. We're not in winter anymore, Toto. This is the real deal in summer. No prisoners. Don't get me wrong, you know, they're not savages. Everybody's still very nice. The boaters are all very nice. Well, certainly the great majority are really nice to talk to. But the vibe is a little bit different. It's a little bit more, you know, out of my way, earthling. Don't impede my progress or you will feel my wrath, you know. There's a little teeny bit of that element in high summer. Higher boats of speed, but I think I've said this before, I sort of don't mind, because for the most part they're families and they're having a good time, they're on holiday, and so there's a nice positive vibe, you know. They're smiley, they're friendly. Yeah, they go past you at 5 miles an hour and your boat rocks around, but they're so nice and friendly that you sort of don't mind. Mind you, the one that T-boned, I don't know what it did, I felt like it T-boned me near Anderton last summer. Bloody hell. I got the fright of my life, honestly. I can't imagine the speed it must have hit with. I've never felt I've been hit a few times down the years. I've never felt anything like that, and there was a dent. There was a dent in the side of the hull. Really clobbered me. Anyway, man, come on. Right, we're not far now, half a mile. Bridge 86 is what I'm looking at. Right, there's a bridge coming up which is just ahead, I can see, and then bridge 86 perhaps a third of a mile after that, and that's where Harry's going to bring his friend tomorrow sometime to take a look. I don't know how it's going to go. I mean, in my ideal world scenario, he would take it with him, fix it up and bring it back, you know. Or, well, no, ideal scenario, he brings like a glow pin or a plug or something, whatever they use. He happens to have it on him and he fixes it there and then, and you know, we all have a celebratory drink and so on. That's not likely to happen. What's more likely to happen, I think, is hopefully he'll diagnose it, but if he doesn't, he'll dismount it and take it with him, and hopefully he'll repair it. But with it being 8.5 years old, there's a thing in my mind about how much money it's worth spending, because if one thing goes on these heating units, it's a fair bet something else is going to go within a year or two, and pretty much everything that you replace on an Everspatcher costs you £200 or more. So a new ECU, the electronic control, your sophisticated ECU, a new one of them is nearly £300. A new fuel pump is £250. Everything, and that's not counting the labour of the guy to fit it, if you can't do it yourself. So, you know, if you've got a £250 bill this year and another bill next year, and there's a brand new unit on the market, which I know there is, for £900, that's a horrible bill to have to face. But you've got to be realistic. If the unit's 8.5 years old, maybe that's just what you've got to expect. Anyway, it probably won't come to that. It'll probably be, I think, something he can fix. He seems a very knowledgeable guy. So and he says he's a very knowledgeable guy, so I think it's odds on he'll be able to do something with it, and we can get an affordable fix, and I'll be up and running, because you need your central heating. This is what people don't realise. You think, oh well, it's warm enough. Yeah, it's warm enough during the day, but when you get up first thing in the morning, it's down to about 10 degrees, 12 degrees. That's quite chilly to be walking around. You know, you don't want to be sat having a cup of coffee, watching an amateur boater video at 12 degrees. You know, it's just a bit too chilly. So yeah, you just need that little half an hour blast on the central heating just to take the chill off the boat, you know. Even on some summer days. Now there are some summer days, just forget it. You don't want the heat, any heat, no heat. And you don't even want to put the cooker on. It's that hot in there, you know. And on the heat wave days, you're up to 25 degrees in there before 7 a.m. because the sunlight's on the boat. It just never goes down. But for, you know, April, May, and then parts of August, September, you need that central heating, and you need it in the evenings. You know what it's like. There's no other sort of heat on here, so you know, you're sat there as the evening draws on. The temperature inside drops, you know, 15, 14, 13. It can get down to about 12 degrees in late August and in April and May. Tonight it's going to get down to 10, no, down to 8, which is not cold, but it's chilly. So central heating, this is where you need it. In the winter you've got your coal stove, keeps the boat warm 24/7. It's always comfortable. It's actually colder getting up in the morning in April, in fact in May, late May, than it is in December. Because in December the stove's left on all night, just ticking over, you know, burning very slowly, and it keeps the boat at a constant sort of 20 degrees, sometimes more. So you get up in the morning, you can walk around without a shirt on, you're not cold, you know, just a thin shirt or t-shirt, whatever, no problem, you can do it. Right, yeah, just need to find out where we're at. Right, according to this, quarter of a mile to Bridge 86. So yeah, ironically, it's more uncomfortable to get up in the morning on the boat in April and May. Look at that, there's a bench on its own, middle of nowhere. There's Bridge 86 up ahead, I can see it now. And beyond that is Streethay Wharf. Now it's that bridge I need, because if I need to visit Lichfield to pick up my new brush for the chimney flue. So I'm looking for a place now. There's wood here. I could use this wood to moor on. A lot of traffic noise though, and it's busy as well. This is that road you can just about see. That's the A38, I think. It's a busy road that. It's never not busy really, you know, it's middle of the night kind of thing, but otherwise it is. So I'm looking for where I can moor here. I'm in mooring mode now, and to make the job of the repair guy easier and it quicker for me to get into town, I want to be close to that bridge up ahead, and I'm also looking at the towpath. And there are muddy patches on it. It's rideable at the moment because it's dry. If it rains that could get naughty, so I want to get close to this bridge. Harry said there's Armco all the way. He said there's loads of Armco on this stretch. Now he could be mistaken, I don't know. No, he isn't. I can see some Armco. Brilliant. So I'll try and stop after the bridge. That's what I'll aim for. And the reason I'll do that is because it's less overgrown. Like this here is heavily overgrown with trees. It's not overgrown, sorry, it's overshadowed by trees. and we're not in a heat wave, so I don't need the shade particularly, but we have got Armco, so this is good news. I want to get closer to the bridge though. He might have some equipment to carry, tools, I don't know. I'm looking at that towpath as well. These are all the things that a seasoned boater will be looking for. Can you see the mud on the towpath there? It's not full of mud, but there are significant patches of mud. And this is dry weather as well. When you see these patches of mud in dry weather, you know that in the rainy weather it's going to be diabolical. When you see patches like that, and it's, you know, there was a little bit of rain I think 2 days ago, not even that much. It's had 2 days to dry out and it still looks like that. Then when the rain, we get a full day's rain here, it'll be almost impassable. So I'm close. Anyway, listen, I'm close to the bridge, and I'm overlooked by a tree. So I think what I'll do, right, I'll nose through. Someone's got like a blue sign, it's a blue sign, it's a road sign. I'm going to nose through the bridge, right, just to see what's there, what it looks like, because the Armco runs out here. I'm about 300 yards short. Genuinely, I don't just randomly throw out this figure 300 yards all the, well, not randomly, I do throw it out, but not randomly. But the Armco finishes here. I'm gonna have to tow the boat all the way back here if I can't find a spot I like after the thing, after this bridge, I'm going to have to tow the boat all the way back here. But I'm not really liking that. But it's not bad. It's not bad. And it's going to be a bastard towing it back as well, because the bank's all overgrown. The boat's going to be bouncing in and out of the grass. It's not a place I want to be towing the boat. But I would like to be a little bit closer to the more boats ahead. Can you see? Ah, right, okay. There is some Armco just before the bridge. Okay, guys. I think I've got my spot. I think I've got it. There's some Armco just before the bridge. Now, I can't really get better than this, because that bridge up ahead is where the engineers come in. But this is great, this is good. This will do me, because it's open extended. This is the mooring, Streethay Wharf, and you see the little sign there, is just beyond the bridge, and the moorings extend, I think, for a couple of 100 yards, and the wharf itself then further down, so it's not immediately there. The marina, the wharf, whatever it is, there's a workshop. Bridge 86. Across the cut is the A38, one of the busiest A roads in the Midlands, I think. But you know, I used it many times when I was travelling back from Birmingham towards Liverpool. Many a time went on the A38 when the M6 had problems, which was distressingly often, or depressingly often. Back up that way is where I've come from, obviously. That was Fradley, the lovely little town of Fradley. So hopefully, I may even be later on. Harry might pop over himself for a quick beer later. Possibly, he might pop over. But certainly tomorrow, I'm expecting him, or at least his friend of a friend contact, who knows how to fix the Eberspacher diesel heaters. He'll be coming over the bridge here, and hopefully, you know, at least diagnose what's wrong with my heater. At least he can do that, and I can make a decision about what to do with it. So this is it. If it's going to take a while, if we need parts ordering, if we need bits, I don't know. If it's all going to take a while, I may be here for like up to a week. It may even be 2. I mean, I'm allowed to stay for 2, I think. This is a 2-week mooring, and I've got about a week's worth of water, I think. So Streethay Wharf have got water, so worst comes to the worst, if I run out of water, go down, fill up and tow myself backwards back here. So I've got water if I really need it, and if I really need to I can stay here for 2 weeks. Obviously I don't want to. There's a co-op about 1.5 miles on the edge of Lichfield, so I'm not completely isolated. It's not miles away. It's fairly handy, especially on the bike. But there's just bugger all here really, and you've got the road, so it's a nice mooring, but it's not a great mooring. And listen, if it gets the diesel central heating fixed, I'm all for it, obviously. You know, I don't care. Well, I don't care as much. I'll do it. I'll stay for 2 weeks, because it's getting a professional out of a marina or someone from the internet. There's usually something like a £50 call out charge, plus there'll be some labour. I think someone quoted 70 odd pounds an hour. So it could take 2 hours to strip down your unit. They're going to charge you 150 quid just to find out what's wrong with it. Then they order a replacement part, which you might pay £200 for. Then it takes them another hour's labour to install it and reassemble the thing. You know, where does that leave you at the end? 150, £100 reassembly, £200 for a part, you know, 600 quid. For £900 you can have a brand new unit that will be good for about 10 years. So it's worth someone having a look at it, and that's what, hopefully that'll happen tomorrow. But it's by no means certain that it's going to be a fix. You know, I've already sort of mentally decided, if it costs more than say £300 to fix it, I don't want a unit that's approaching 9 years old, you know, with a £300 bill, and who knows what the next thing is that's going to go, you know. It just doesn't, it seems to me like a more sensible thing to spend the 900, and it, you know, then I'll have a good reliable diesel central heating for as long as I'm on the boat, because you know, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be on this thing. I mean, I'm really enjoying the variety, travelling around all the different places, you know, seeing a different side of the country. You really do see a different side to it. So I'm enjoying it, but I don't know how much longer that novelty, that interest will last. Nobody knows. Lots of vloggers and lots of other people, you know, talk about vloggers, because I've seen vloggers, so, you know, you track what they're up to, sort of. That sounds stalkerish. I'm not a stalker, I'm too lazy, but so you sort of, you know, you follow. Track sounds a bit intense, doesn't it? You follow their progress, and many of them pack in boating and move off of their boat and onto land after a few years, some of them after like a year, you know. Now I've been 3.5 years on mine, approaching 4. It's actually in August it will be 4. It was end of August 2020. 3 years and 9 months, so we're getting on for 4 years, and I'm fine with it. But I need to have a reliable diesel central heating system. It's good to have a backup, because you don't, if something goes wrong with the stove, say the door glass breaks or a seal breaks or something goes where I can't use the stove, very unlikely, but it happens, I've got a backup in the winter. But it's more for this kind of weather where it's middling, it's chilly in the morning, and you just need to take the edge off of the boat interior, you know, just make it comfortable. So I think someone's walking down, so I'm going to have to shut up. Someone coming down, yeah. So anyway, you know, so if I'm going to be on the boat for another 5 years, I need to know my central heating's going to work for that long. I don't want to fix it now for 400, 500 quid and then it go in 2 years, and then I've got the £1,000 bill, you know. I'm not doing that. So anyway, we'll see in the morning when he comes out. Let's see what happens. For now, I'm going to pop in and get a brew and do some editing, get some videos out for you folks. So I'll catch you later. Bugger all else to do round here, let's be honest.